FPS shooters, one's gonna come out on top. They're both similar yet different in their own ways. Call of Duty has been around for 20 plus years, while XDefiant is making its debut May 21st. Which one will you have on top? And the last factor I'm gonna share with you will be the most important, so definitely stick around. Let's discuss. So it's no doubt in my mind that Call of Duty has been the king of FPS shooters for the last 20 years. When you want to take it and you compare it to Battlefield, 99% of the player base chose Call of Duty over Battlefield. And you're going to ask why? Call of Duty was a fast action, fast-paced FPS combat shooter, right? You could easily load in with your friends. You can easily get in lobbies. There was nothing to worry about but getting on and having fun with your friends. But the way Call of Duty has been recently, there may be some changes going on into the Call of Duty community that people aren't liking. For example, very sweaty skill-based matchmaking. That has taken a turn for the worse, and people can't even enjoy the games like they used to. How many of you guys remember coming home, if you guys played Call of Duty, the original ones, I mean MW2, MW3, how many of you guys remember coming home and specifically getting on with your buddies after school, maybe even ditching homework and starting to just jam out and have some good times with your friends? Call of Duty hasn't seen that stuff recently, and with that taking a turn for the worse, this leads me to XDefiant. XDefiant is a fast-paced FPS shooter, very, very similar to COD, but it also has its differences. So what we're going to do again, we're going to break down the similarities and differences. I'm going to have a notepad, sketchbook right in the bottom right, and we're just going to have a little conversation about it. I said right, we're going to the left here, okay? But we're going to have a conversation about these two games, which one will take control, and some key factors that you guys need to take into control of XDefiant versus Call of Duty, and which one will be the pick for you in the long run. So overall, let's talk about the gameplay starting out here. So with Call of Duty and XDefiant, there is very much similarities here. The only real difference is XDefiant has factions, which gives you abilities. So if you want to take it into some sort of Call of Duty sense, think about Black Ops 3 with the overall operator power-ups that you guys had. So, for example, Ruin with his gravity spikes, those are kind of what XDefiant has, but they're split up into factions and they have abilities. So overall, the gameplay is very much similar. Call of Duty has perks. XDefiant has those abilities if you want to actually compare the current two. But the gameplay, the gun mechanics, overall everything is pretty much similar. One thing you can't do in XDefiant is prone versus Call of Duty. You can drop shot, but the games felt very, very similar and very, very fast-paced. As accordingly, they're both FPS, fast combat-paced shooters. Now let's quickly break down the creator class system for both. I know you guys know it, but let's just do it quick for people who are new here. XDefiant and Call of Duty have a very similar creator class. Call of Duty is just called Gunsmith, and XDefiant is just called creator class. But pretty much you're able to put on any attachments you want. So let's say the HRM. You have a muzzle for that. You have a suppressor. You're able to throw on all SMGs and possibly all weapons on the game if it's able to be used. XDefiant, same thing, but you have to rank up every single weapon individually, so there's a little more grind there. So let's say you unlock a foregrip for the ACR. You have to rank it up, you get that, congrats, you'll be able to put it on. But you want to be able to use that foregrip on the AK-47 now. What you're going to have to do is now grind the AK-47 up to that level to be able to unlock it. So there's similarities, but then there's also differences. So the winner goes to that one for XDefiant, only because I feel like the grind is more there. And if you want to put more time into it just to be able to unlock everything, you have a little more grind to do so. Now, one quick thing I want to touch about is time. Call of Duty has been around for 20 plus years. Like I stated in the beginning of the video, XDefiant has only seen its place for 2 years. One, if you want to count it with the delays and everything. So with time, Call of Duty knows what they're doing. It may not seem like it, but they know what they're doing. They've beaten every FPS genre that has come into the game, and XDefiant is trying to take its turn on the FPS genre. But with time, everybody knows Call of Duty. Everybody knows that it's a classic FPS shooter. So we're only going to have to wait to see what happens here with time. But it seems like Call of Duty is going to be the winner here. Now let's break down the matchmaking for both of these two games. Starting out, Call of Duty is very, very, very heavy on skill-based matchmaking. I'm going to break it down for the people who don't know it quickly, but if you do know it, go grab yourself a bag of chips and come back and enjoy the show. So, skill-based matchmaking. You load into a game for the very first time. You're set at pretty much no skill. It doesn't know how good or bad you are. And what happens is the more times you play it over time, it's going to start building yourself a kill-death ratio ratio or even some play time. And over time, it's going to start matching with people that are along the skill level. So let's say you're a 1 KD player. It's going to match you in the lobby with 1 KD players. Sounds even, right? Well, the thing is you're not going to be able to enjoy yourself because you're playing against people your skill level. So if you want to just come home and relax, it's going to be kind of hard for you to do so, especially with it over time and the more you build yourself up. Now, for my people who come back from the snack, we're going to go over to XDefiant. So, XDefiant is based off of ping. So, the lower the ping, the better the lobbies are going to be for you. No lag, no latency, no packet burst, nothing like that, just straight ping. And even comes to show, the more times you have loading into a lobby, the more chances of the same players you're going to run into because it's based off of ping. It's not skill-based matchmaking like how Call of Duty is. Yes, that can happen, but it's more so based on how you perform within the last 10 games, within your overall score, skill-based, and everything along those lines. So honestly, I'm going to give this to a huge W to XDefiant because ping means more than your skill in classic multiplayer shooters. Now, you guys remember what I said at the beginning of the video? Well, we're going to talk about that right now, and we're going to have an honest conversation about it here. So what I'm going to say is replayability. How many of you guys, be honest with me, have put down the game because it has made you upset or very, very angry? Me personally, I have been doing that a lot more recently than normal, and I don't know if you guys have, but if you guys have, let me know down in the comments. This is just honestly a one-to-one talk on this. So replayability is huge in any sort of video game, right? You want to be able to come home and play that game you enjoy every day. Well, with everything that I've talked about, how is it more enjoyable to play Call of Duty right now with everything going on versus trying out a brand new game in XDefiant? I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, and I'm not saying the replayability is going to be there, but clearly it has for Call of Duty fans because it's been around for so long, but they're also not going to want to try anything else new just because Call of Duty has stuck with them. And now is your chance. If you guys want to be able to try a new game, definitely hop over to XDefiant and give it a shot. It's free to play. You guys have nothing to lose, and just give it a shot. Let me know what you guys think. But the replayability is going to be huge between these two games. If you guys don't enjoy XDefiant, if nobody enjoys XDefiant, this game is going to fall off a cliff right away. But with the replayability of Call of Duty, everybody seems to want to pick it up and be able to try to enjoy it again, but the issues is what's keeping them from full on liking it. So with, like I said, the free-to-play game of XDefiant, you guys have another chance to try to find that replayability nostalgia factor that you once had before. Now, if I was to run a poll and ask you guys XDefiant versus Call of Duty, 90% of you guys I feel like would say Call of Duty. Why? Call of Duty has been around for 20 plus years. The replayability is there. And overall, everybody knows it as a classic FPS shooter. It has been every single game that has ever come to the market. Battlefield hasn't even come close. And Call of Duty just has a set name for itself. So why would that change with XDefiant? I'm not saying that it's going to, but there's a very close call and a very close chance that this is going to be a head-to-head battle for the best FPS shooter to be able to drop in 2024. We're just going to have to wait for time and see what it involves with XDefiant versus Call of Duty. Well, that's going to wrap things up for me. If you guys like what you saw in today's video, definitely drop a like, as it'll help push this video out to as much people as possible in regards to XDefiant versus Call of Duty, and share it because who doesn't like a good comparison video these days? And if you want, drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on XDefiant versus Call of Duty, as I will respond to every single one of you guys. And also, drop a sub. I do a lot of Call of Duty Warzone content and now XDefiant content, so if you want the latest news, tips and tricks on both games, and best loadouts to be able to use, I am your one-stop for everything in terms of both of those games. But that's going to do it for me. It's been Scott ID. Stay blessed, stay positive, enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.